What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about the top 10 basketball shoes of 2025. First of all, some honorable mentions that I think are really good, but that just didn't crack the top 10 for me. We have the Sabrina 3. I did enjoy them, but I like the 2s more. The Dame X, same thing, really nice shoe, especially considering the price, but I still prefer the Dame 9s over them. Then I also have the KD 18. I do like them, they're very comfortable, there's some cool colorways available, but they're just a little bit too heavy in my opinion to be in the top 10 list. And then the last two shoes I want to put here are the All Pro Nitro 2. Those are actually pretty damn nice, but way too narrow for my feet. So if you have narrow feet, they can actually be a really nice performer. But if you have normal sized or wide feet like me, just stay away from them. And the last shoe I'm going to talk about briefly, the Puma Halley 1. Really good looking shoe in my opinion. I love the blue colorway. I wish the pink colorway was a little bit more pink. It's just kind of not as popping as I would like it to be. And overall the performance is good, especially the traction performance. But as I said, they just don't crack the top 10. With all that out of the way, let's start with my personal number 10, which might be a little bit of a surprise. It's the New Balance Fresh Foam BB Volume 3. And the main reason these are on there is that they're incredibly comfortable. Probably the most comfortable shoe on this list. We have full length fresh foam cushioning, and I really enjoyed the Volume 2s already. The Volume 1s I didn't like as much, but these feel like an upgraded version of the Volume 2s. The same crazy amount of cushioning, but more support, and what's also nice, very good traction performance. We kind of have a wave-like traction pattern that has an insanely loud squeak, which of course has nothing to do with performance, but here the bite itself is also really good. I wouldn't take them outdoors, even though the cushioning might tempt you to try them as it's got great impact protection, but I just don't think the outsole is as durable. Briefly on the materials, full synthetic, very comfortable, breaks in nicely, a lot of padding as well, and the support features, as I said, are good. We have a shank plate that you can see through the translucent outsole that provides good torsional support, and the retail price at 140 euros at all is actually also pretty nice. Now at number 9 on my list, I have a shoe that comes in at 130 euros at all, and if we were just talking about looks, they would be way higher up, probably fighting for the number 1 spot. But the performance kind of holds them back a little bit. They are very heavy, especially for a guard shoe. I usually don't mind it as much, but just for an overall top 10 list for best shoes of the year, I just have to take that into consideration. As that the design is great, the price is awesome at 130 for a first signature shoe, but the weight kind of holds them back a little bit. One thing that I also don't like about them is that the torsional support just isn't there. If you look at it, they can bend very easily in the midfoot area. That's an issue I had with the Sabrina 2s as well. And overall, just from the cushioning setup, these feel a lot like the Sabrina 2, just more heavy and with thicker materials. The traction performance is very good. The cushioning, as I said, is minimal in the heel, and you got an air zoom unit in the forefoot that you do feel, but it also needs to be broken in. And the materials here are also all synthetic, of course, with some synthetic leather overlays and also some neoprene parts in the upper. I enjoyed playing with them, but they still don't make it higher than number 9 on my list. At number 8, we have the first shoe from Way of Wade. It's the All-City 13 Encore. I decided to put these over the AC 13 as they're a tiny little bit better in my opinion, especially for outdoors. This is a great outdoor shoe. You get full length boom cushioning plus a very durable outsole, which is just awesome from Way of Wade. The retail price right now is actually also relatively low. If you use my discount code LucasSimoner10, you can get them for around 100 euros or dollars. You just have to add some shipping to that, depending on where you live. So that's a really great price, amazing value for money. Durable outsole, good cushioning setup. The upper is a little bit more stiff as on the regular All-City 13, so it takes some more time to break in. And if you don't like the strap feature, there's also colorways available without the strap. It doesn't really add that much support, but just a little bit more rigidity in the forefoot area. If I'm talking about support, it's outstanding. We have a torsion plate, a Euro plate as we had on the regular All-City 13, which adds amazing torsional support, so you're really good to go and locked in. At number 7, we have a shoe that's a little bit more expensive in the Antakai 2, but that is also a really good performer. I absolutely love this all black or triple black colorway, is what it's called. The best thing about it, in my opinion, is those little green iridescent accents that you don't see at all times, just when you start to turn the shoe. And what also looks really cool is if you have them on foot and you move around, then sometimes you see some parts of green, sometimes you don't. Just awesome. Simply for performance, I do like them, but there's some things I wish they would improve. First of all, there's not enough cushioning for my liking in the heel area. It's very low to ground overall. I don't mind the forefoot. I love that actually about the shoe, but the heel needs to have a little bit more cushion for me. One thing I also didn't like as much at first is the narrow fit. They have to be broken in a little bit. The materials are also a little bit more stiff than they were in the Antakai one. The traction performance, however, is very, very good. In my opinion, also looks to be extremely durable. The outsole design is also pretty cool if you're into that sort of thing. So from an outsole standpoint, you can take them outdoors, just the cushioning is kind of holding them back a little bit. Support features are outstanding. You have flywire-like cables that go down the side of the shoe. The lacing system works very, very well. You've got a heel counter, shank blade, so overall, a very supportive, low to the ground shoe. Great for guards or players who like that, to have a very fast and low to the ground shoe, or as a responsive shoe, and that have a playstyle that's guard-like, so kind of like Kyrie. If you're wondering where I'm getting all these shoes from, I mentioned my link from Way of Weight already, but I also have affiliate partnerships or links with some other stores and brands, and you can find a list of them in the description box down below. Moving on to number 6, retail price 125 euros, amazing design, the Nike Ja Free. Just for design, this is probably my favorite looking shoe, up there with the Shea 1. The performance is also good, but there's some things that are just keeping them outside of the top 5. I thought long and hard about it. I know in my top 5 of the year video that I did about a month ago or a little bit longer, they were a tiny little bit higher up, but I've had to think about it a little bit. I played more in them, so that's why it's changed a little bit. But if you haven't watched it, make sure to check that out as well. The main positives about the Ja Free are the insanely good bite. I think I gave it a 10 out of 10 bite. It does pick up dust, but if you wipe from time to time, you'll be good to go on almost any court. Just don't take them outdoors. The durability is trash. But if you're on an indoor court, the bite and grip is absolutely amazing. Of course, the Zoom X foam that's in there, we have 2 layers, recycled and just regular Zoom X, is kind of the whole selling point of the shoe alongside the bold design. And it's also amazing. Nice compression, good impact protection, still not too high off the ground. Materials are also nice, all synthetic. That's something you actually might notice in this video. I don't use shoes with leather materials because I'm vegan, and I don't only use that in my diet or implement that in my diet, but also in my regular lifestyle, meaning I don't wear leather clothing or leather shoes. For the Ja Free, the one thing that's holding them back, and the one thing I haven't talked about yet, is the support. While there actually are enough support features, the materials are too soft to keep your foot on the shoe bed or the footbed. So that's my issue with the support. It's not that you'll kind of roll your ankle because there's no shank blade or the laces don't work or no heel counter. It's more so that the materials are just too soft. So when you do a really hard stop, your foot just moves out over here a tiny little bit. And that's why they're not in the top 5. At number 5, I have the 361 Joker GT, while the regular Joker one is also incredibly nice. The GT just takes it to another level. That's why I put these here in the video. They retail for 170. As I said, if you don't want to spend that much money, you can get the Joker 1 for around 130. I also have a discount code for 361, as said, in the description box down below. But since this is really the top 10 best basketball shoes of the year, not the best or the most affordable shoes of the year, I'm going to go with the Joker 1 GT. They have amazing traction performance, and while the pattern actually looks like it's not durable because it's so thin, it kind of reminds me of the polyurethane based outsoles we see from Way of Weight or also from SPO, and they are actually very durable, and they also provide a very, very good bite. This outsole here is slightly translucent, and you can also see a carbon fiber shank plate for it. Very good supportive features as well, and the cushioning is what takes these to another level. Incredibly bouncy, still very lightweight, the shoe overall, so they can be worn on any position. I mean, essentially that's true for all the shoes, but usually if you have a lot of cushion, that makes the shoe a little bit heavier. There's more density in there, more foam, so that tends to be more of a big guy shoe. But here you get all the perks of a lot of cushioning at a relatively low weight still. The fit is also wide foot friendly. The materials are synthetic leather. Again, I mentioned why I don't use leather shoes, and here they come in all kinds of different options and colorway options, some great collabs available as well. So I really enjoy them, and in my opinion, they're a deserving number 4. They've been in my top 5 so far videos throughout the whole year, so it's nice to see that they actually held up towards the end of the year as well. Now at number 4, Stephen Curry is leaving Under Armour with a bang. Curry Series 7. They retail for 160, which is also a little bit more expensive, but the performance is really worth it. And yes, I do know that the Under Armour Curry 13 is still supposed to come out, but as of right now, this is his last shoe, and now he's kind of a sneaker free agent. what makes these stand out and get the number 4 spot on my list is the 10 out of 10 traction performance. Only reason why they're not higher up is because they're still not very durable, but one thing they finally managed to switch up is that the Flow outsole that has amazing bite on indoor courts used to have very bad impact protection, and right here you've got a lot of cushioning. These kind of feel like a running shoe that was beefed up for basketball, which is an amazing feeling on court. We've got a decoupled outsole, a shank plate in the middle that adds a lot of stability and torsional support, and then we have an upper that's incredibly thin. It takes some time getting used to, especially if that's your first Curry shoe. You actually need to be a little bit careful because you can trip over your own feet. That's how good the bite is, and then because the materials are so soft, it almost feels like you're wearing nothing on your foot, so it feels a tiny little bit unstable at first, but once you get used to it and the shoe really excels and you allow the shoe to perform like it's supposed to, it's one hell of a performer. It's one of the lightest shoes I've tested all year. Still has good impact protection. You're not too high off the ground nonetheless, and you have an amazing bite and very breathable, thin and soft materials. And another plus is that they're wide foot friendly as well. Now moving into the top 3, we've got 2 shoes that have also been in my videos throughout the whole year, and I have or had the 808.5 Ultra in there throughout the whole year, but right now I actually have to put the 808.5 Ultra Volume 2, as these are they are supposed to be an upgrade over the regular 808.5s. They retail also, if you're using my code, for around 130 euros a dollars, which is also a great price for a shoe with so much tech in there. The outsole is part GCU, part regular tough OS rubber from Way of Weight, so also a very nice compound. I got some messages from followers saying that they had issues on the regular 808.5s, that the outsole would peel off. I didn't have those issues, but I also rotate shoes a lot, so probably that's the reason why. I recommended everyone to contact the customer support with Way of Weight, and in most cases they were able to help out, as the shoes actually have a warranty for cases like that. The 808.5 Ultra V2 has seemed more durable. I haven't gotten any complaints from followers, so that's a good thing. And the standout feature of this shoe, or of these shoes, is the insane drop-in midsole that's in there. Kind of hard to get out, but here we go. Full length, super boom drop-in midsole, the most insane and comfortable drop-in midsole I have ever tried. This thing right here is incredibly bouncy, has got great impact protection, and you're still pretty low to the ground in your forefoot, so that's probably the best cushioning setup you can get directly underneath your foot. One downside of drop-in midsole setups is that they're usually kind of narrow. This is also the case here, so if you are wide footer, maybe try to go up half a size, but the downside of the shoe, they run a tiny little bit long, so it's not that easy to size up to get a good fitting shoe. But if you don't have extremely wide feet, these are one hell of a performer. Support features are also very good. Both shoes feature those carbon fiber accents. You can see them as well here, as they're colored in the same color as the shoe overall. And on some colorways, we also have a heel carbon fiber accent, kind of like we had on the Kobe 9s. They made that famous. The materials are also very similar. Here on the Volume 2s, they're a tiny little bit more reinforced compared to the Volume 1s or the regular ones. These are very light and breathable, so actually also a nice option for outdoors if they hadn't had those durability issues on the outsole. And now for the last 2 shoes, it was actually kind of hard to think about it, but I had to go with my gut feeling because I just wear these shoes more often than I do the other shoes in this video. And at number 2, I have the Adidas AE2s. They come in at 130 euros a dollars. I like them way more than the AE1s, and I really enjoy playing in them. The biggest upgrade compared to the AE1s, they are lighter. They cut some materials and excess material, kind of that cheese grater-like upper that we had. Everything that is here, we had underneath that on the AE1s as well, but they just cut it. And in my opinion, the shoe still looks very good and performs better because it's lighter. Traction performance is absolutely amazing. Kind of herringbone-like traction pattern, mix of translucent and solid rubber outsole. Does an amazing job. Just don't take them outdoors. Also, yet again, not very durable, unfortunately. Cushioning setup is similar to what we had on the AE1 lows. While a lot of you might have not liked that, I actually really enjoyed it, and I also have to say that for this video in general, these are my personal thoughts and recommendations on shoes. That's just how I like them. So while maybe you didn't like the A2s as much, or you thought the Jaffrey was way better, or you like the Shea ones more, that can all be the case, but that's just how I liked my shoes this season or this year, this calendar year, and that's why I have certain shoes at certain spots. I try to transparently explain it anyways. So back to the AE2s, I like the cushioning setup more on the lows because it had good impact protection in the heel and was lower to the ground in the forefoot. Support features here are also very good. You can see that translucent outsole provides a look at the shank flare that we have. Still kind of X-shaped, as you can see, going throughout almost the entire length of the footbed. And I mentioned the materials already, all synthetic and improved as they are lighter. The fit is also nice for wide feet. Just be careful, the toe box is a little bit short, so sometimes I do stub my big toe here if I'm doing really hard stops and my foot moves a tiny little bit on the insole. That's actually right on cue as well, because I absolutely hated the insoles on the AE1s. Here it's way better. They don't wiggle around or move around while you're playing. The lacing system also works really well. So in my opinion, I did really enjoy them. I think they're an upgrade over the AE1s. And if you want to have more detail on all these basketball shoes, I have a review on almost all of them, just the latest ones that came in. So the Fresh Foam BB Volume 2, Volume 3, I didn't manage to do a review just yet. If there's interest, I'll do that for sure. And now, best basketball shoe of 2025, in my personal, humble opinion, as a professional player, is the Adidas Dawn Issue 7. I didn't think I'd say this at the start of the year, but they are one hell of a performer. Very good traction performance. Just make sure to wipe if you're on dusty courts, because that tends to be a little bit of an issue. The retail price is also very good, as they come in at 120 euros a dollars. There's a lot of fire colorways available. I just recently got one that's kind of mismatching, but not in the traditional sense. The one shoe is colored red, the other one is colored blue, but we actually have different gradients on both shoes, which is really cool. I'm going to put a close-up on the screen. But this is the colorway I've been playing in throughout this season so far, and I really enjoyed them. I got them at the end of the off season. I used them in my workouts. I really liked them. I used them in a lot of team practices. My game shoe is still the Nike Book 1, so if you're not familiar with that or didn't know my channel, I love the Nike Book 1. I've been using them in my games for over a year now. Don't think I'm going to switch because they just fit my feet perfectly and have all the things I like about a basketball shoe. But if I would have to switch out of them, I'd go with the Adidas Dawn Issue 7, as they're an absolute beast of a performer. Full length Light Strike Pro cushioning, a very thick slab in the heel, as you can obviously see, lower to the ground in the forefoot. What a coincidence, that's just how I like it. Got a very interesting shank plate as it moves up on the side of the shoe. Provides good torsional support. The forefoot is nice and flexible where your toes are, that's how it's supposed to be. And then the midfoot is really stable. The materials are also incredibly comfortable. One downside to this shroud-like thing here is that it's not very breathable. You can actually hoop with the shroud open. That's how I did it a couple of times, because it doesn't do anything for support. It's more of an aesthetic thing if you want to open or close, but if you have it open, it at least lets the air go out a tiny little bit more than if you have it closed all the way. The lacing system works really well, and one thing I love about it is that the last lace loop right up here doesn't go straight down, it actually goes down like this, so towards the back, which gets rid of the heel slip that some players experienced on the Dawn Issue 6. So it's great to see that Adidas listened to consumer feedback and tried to implement that and really gave us one hell of a performer. Before I end the video, one thing I want to add is I know a lot of Kobe's released throughout the year as well, but as it's generally very hard to get them and also very expensive to buy them if you didn't get them for retail, I decided not to put them in the video. Of course, the Kobe 4, the Kobe 5, the Kobe 6, 8, and 9, those are my personal favorites. Might also try the Kobe 3, I haven't yet. I know those are technically a new release, but they're also a Pro pair and we're also not as easy to get. So I heard those are good, but I don't know from my personal opinion yet. I can't say. Those shoes, let's stick with the 5 that I mentioned, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9. Those are really nice. If you can get them for retail, I absolutely recommend you do that. I do enjoy them a lot, especially the 5, 6, and 9s. If you have to pay resale, I just won't do it. It's way too much to pay 600, 500, 700 euros for one pair of basketball shoes. With all that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like on this video, comment your thoughts, your feedback. Did I miss any shoes? Do you think shoes should be higher up? Just let me know down below. And if you did all that and still want to help me out, you can subscribe to my channel. As I said, it would be highly appreciated. Have a good one and see you next time.